Hey guys, Griffin here, and today we're going to be talking about bear and cat talents in the pre-patch. But before we get started, please take the time to like and subscribe, as it really does help me out. Also, I stream on Twitch if you want to check me out, twitch.tv/griftinish. Thanks. Okay guys, so let's talk about talents. We're talking about bear first, then we'll talk about cat, but I will be talking about kind of like a hybrid, though it's not really feasible to be an efficient hybrid. You can still do some things here, so I will be mentioning that, but for the most part, this is going to be a mono bear first, then we're going to talk about cat. Okay, so first we're going to pick up 5 of 5 ferocity. This is a no-brainer. This is going to reduce all your costs by 5 rage, and then we're going to jump down to savage fury. We're going to skip feral aggression. I know it reduces your demo or increases your demo roar reduction, but honestly, usually you've got a warrior for that, so I don't worry about it. And then we've got Savage Fury. This is just going to increase the damage from your Mangle Bear and Maul abilities. And I'm also going to pick up Thick Hide. We took a huge chunk of armor loss. We made up for it in other talents, but this is really great to have in case you want to just make sure you've got decent armor when you get hit. And I also picked up 3 of 3 in Feral Instinct. Now the reason is because, especially now, everything seems to be chain pulling and you're always swiping in bear form. I think the 30% is definitely being utilized. However, this is one place where you could drop in order to benefit you with other cat abilities. Next, we're going to go to Feral Swiftness. The movement speed for cat is not to be underplayed. This thing is great. Anytime I'm trying to go around, I switch to cat form to get there faster and then back to bear form. On top of that, it's also going to give you a 4% extra dodge, which is going to come into play later further down the talent tree. Survival Instincts, this is a no-brainer. This is better than your PV or your Trinket talents and your Nightmare Seed. It's going to scale as well, so the more health you get, the more this is going to benefit you, so it's going to scale up with the level. Next, we have Sharpened Claws. This increases your critical strike chance by 6%. And then Primal Fury is going to give you rage every time you crit. And Primal Precision is going to give you expertise of 10. It also does stuff for cat, but we'll talk about that in cat. But if you are doing a hybrid, you definitely want all 3 of these anyway. Predatory Strikes is increase your attack power based on your weapon, so you're definitely going to want a really good weapon because of Predatory Strikes. It also gives you a 100% chance as a cat when you do a finishing move to give you a nature spell for free. Not really beneficial for bear, which is good to know. Okay, now I didn't pick shredding attacks here. For a cat, this is an absolute must. So if you're doing a hybrid, you do want 2 points here. Where you take it from is up to you. Maybe you're going to drop it from Feral Instinct and put it in here, but regardless, if you're trying to do some sort of hybrid spec, you will need to grab this for being a cat. But for bear, the 2 points reduction of rage for lacerate isn't worth it, so we're going to skip it. All right, let's scroll down a little bit, and we're going to go Feral Charge. This is a no-brainer, straight from TBC, allows you to charge. Just makes it so much easier to move around, pick up threat, grab things, stuff like that. Great mobility tool. Then we're going to go Natural Reaction. I mentioned the Feral Swiftness is going to give you that 4% dodge. This is where it starts to benefit you even more. This is going to give you 6% more dodge, and on top of that, you get 3 rage every time you dodge. So great for like AoE tanking multiple mobs when you're dodging a ton of them and you're becoming rage starved. This is going to pretty much fix that. So now even when you dodge, you're going to get that rage back. And then you're going to do Heart of the Wild. This is going to increase your stamina by 10%, making your health pool bigger and helping your survival instincts. Plus, it's just a really good stat. More stamina means just more survivability for a bear. Then Survival of the Fittest. This makes it so you don't have to wear defensive gear such as like resilience or defense. It also increases your attributes by 6%. So this is just a great talent for both cat and bear, making you be able to be really, really tanky without having to do anything special with your gear. Leader of the Pack, this is going to give you 5% crit to all melee and ranged party and raid members. So this is now raid wide. Really great talent, especially now that it's raid wide. And on top of that, you can get improved Leader of the Pack, which heals everyone that does melee damage as long as they crit. And on top of that, it'll also give you mana back. The mana thing isn't really that big of a deal for a bear, but it's just something to be aware of if you're leveling using this talent. Then we're going to go down to Protector of the Pack. This is going to give you just more attack power, and it's going to reduce damage by 12%. This is just an absolute great bear skill. Then we're going to drop down to Mangle. Sorry, I'm just following the arrow. I know I skipped King of the Jungle. We'll talk about it in a second. So you're definitely going to want Mangle and Bear. In Cat, it's not a guarantee, but we'll talk about that when we get to it. And then you're going to put 3 points in Improved Mangle because you are going to be using Mangle as soon as it's up, and reducing the cooldown by 1.5 seconds is actually huge. It allows you to fit 1 less cycle through. So in the past, you did something like Mangle, Lacerate, 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 Mangle, and now you'll do Mangle, Lacerate, Lacerate, Mangle. Hope that makes sense. And then we're going to go back. King of the Jungle, this is absolutely amazing. Every time you enrage, You're gonna do increase of 15% damage. Great on a pull. You can pop Enrage with a Bark Skin to mitigate the armor loss, and then just do an extra 15% damage, especially if you've got Berserk up. This thing is just absolutely great to have. It's great for cat too, but definitely great for bear. All right, and then we're gonna go down to Rend and Tear. This is actually really nice. If you get Lacerate up on a target, it's gonna do 20% more damage from Maul. Really powerful, especially if you're doing multiple attacks. You can put Lacerate on 2 targets and then Maul. And if you're using Glyph of Maul and hit them both, you're increasing the damage by 20% on each target. And then Primal Gore, it's going to encourage you even more to use Lacerate by making your Lacerate able to crit. And of course, the last talent is Berserk. This is just going to remove the cooldown of Mangle, and it hits 3 targets. Great for an opener, especially if you're trying to get threat on multiple targets. And you have Glyph of Maul, you're just hitting so much all at once. This is also great for cat, but we'll talk about that when we come back. Okay. Now, for the Restoration Tree, I went 2 points in Improved Mark of the Wild for the 2% attribute plus the ability to buff everybody. A lot of people might skip this and pick up Führer. This would make sense if you are trying to do a cat, because you do want to have extra energy when you go back into cat if you're doing any kind of bear weaving. In fact, some people are going to try to go 5 of 5 bear weave. So if you are, you'd probably want to drop it from here. For me personally, I'd rather have the 2% attributes and the improved Gift of the Wild, because I do run a lot of 5-mans and I am the only druid, and I'd rather have the buff there. Though this is debatable on how you could configure this. But that is the bear talents. Also for glyphs, I just want to show you what I have. I have Glyph of Maul and Glyph of Frenzied Regen. These are really the only 2 glyphs you can get anyway, so those are the ones I grabbed. For miners, I did choose Glyph of Challenging Roar. I know I didn't mention it in my glyph video because I really wasn't on board with it. Because I don't use Challenging Roar that often, but there are times when you are going to do like a back-to-back and you want to grab it, and I think this makes the most sense, especially for a bear. I also have Glyph of Thorns just because I am applying it. The only thing that sucks about this is if you have a Boomy that's putting thorns on you, they probably have improved thorns, and this becomes 0 beneficial at that point. And then I did Glyph of Unburdened Rebirth. I've talked about why I like this. I like to not have to carry the reagent for rebirth, which I don't anymore, especially when you get an upgraded one and you forget and you have to find the old one. It's a whole thing. But yeah, those are the ones I get. All right, now let's talk cat. So first of all, this is set up as a normal cat. I do have 5 of 5 here, but this is not like set up for bear cat or anything like that. The 5 of 5 does allow me to go bear weaving, but everyone can choose. You can take the points out of there and put it into the attributes instead. But we'll get to that when we get to that. Okay, so first I did 5 of 5 Ferocity just like before. I went also 5 of 5 Feral Aggression because I do have the tier 6 4-piece set and I want to continue to hit Ferocious Bite. My plan is to do Rip on the first cycle and Ferocious Bite on the second cycle of my combo point finishing moves. So that just makes the most sense. I went down to Savage Fury to increase the damage for my essentially just my Mangle Cat and my Rake. Not super beneficial, but I wanted to put some points here, so I did. Now I skipped Feral Instinct because I don't have Swipe, and the enemy prowl thing isn't that big of a deal for me. So this just excuse me, it doesn't make a lot of sense for a cat to have this yet. Once you get 71 and you get Swipe, there is an argument for taking points here. I did take Feral Swiftness. The movement speed is just by itself just crazy. And it also increases your dodge chance, so just beneficial if you're soloing stuff. Survival Instincts. Now this is a bear talent for the most part. It can be used in cat form. Great for just trying to survive, or if you accidentally pull threat, which can happen as a cat, so just be careful. Survival Instincts just by itself is just a great talent, and for only 1 point, it's just worth to grab. Now here's the triangle again. Sharpened Claws is going to increase your critical strike chance by 6%. This is going to give you an extra combo point when you crit, and this is going to, while also give you expertise of 10, is going to refund 80% of your energy if your finishing move doesn't work. This is really great, especially on Ferocious Bite. If you fail, at least you get that 80% of that energy back and you can try again. And we did pick up shredding attacks here. This is an absolute must for cats because you will be shredding. And then Predatory Strikes, I've talked about this earlier, but essentially it's going to increase your attack power based on your weapon. And then it also does the finishing move where it gives you an instant nature spell, which can be used for healing, or a wrath if you really want to, or for an instant rebirth, which is really nice. And then you've got Feral Charge. This is normally a bear talent, but they do have a Feral Charge cat now, which allows you to leap behind the enemy. Great for positioning. It does cost energy, so keep that in mind when you're trying to do a really good opener. Maybe you don't want to spend your energy there. It's up to you, your choice, but I definitely recommend it. All right, and then Heart of the Wild, this, instead of giving stamina for bear, it does still do that, but it also gives you attack power increase of 10% for cat. And then Survival of the Fittest, you're going to pick this up. It gives 6% attribute, and it's so great for a cat to be crit immune. You can, if your tank dies, take over it. Your gear won't be as great, but you'll still not be able to get crit, which makes it really powerful just to have this here. Okay, and then Leader of the Pack, same thing. This is for the whole raid now, and you definitely want to get this. It's 5% crit. And then two more points is going to give you the healing and the 8% mana back. Now, the 8% mana I think is definitely beneficial if you're shifting a lot, like you're doing bear weaving. It's not absolutely necessary, but it's definitely helpful. And the healing is helpful for the raid in general. So I do pick these both up, though I have seen people drop these 2 points here. And then Predatory Instincts. While in cat form, increase your damage from melee critical strikes by 10% and reduce the damage taken from AoE. The AoE is just nice, but the increase your damage from melee critical strikes by 10%. Is really nice. So I definitely recommend this over this. This is a bear talent. This is the cat talent. So then King of the Jungle, this is a bread and butter talent for cats. It's really nice for bears, but absolutely a must for cats. Essentially, it's turning your Tiger's Fury, an ability you almost never used in TBC, into an energy regen button. Every 30 seconds, you can restore 60 energy instantly. Really great combining with Berserk. But it's used constantly, pretty much on cooldown when your energy is below 30. You don't ever want to use this when your energy is high. It is a waste if you do. And then Mangle, I do put 1 point into Mangle. However, you can technically skip this if you have an arms warrior doing trauma. I don't ever feel comfortable going without this, just because if there isn't that warrior, then you don't really have that opener. And if you're ever doing like farming or anything out in the real world, you're using Claw instead, and it just anyway. I always pick up the Mangle. However, Improved Mangle can absolutely be skipped for cats. It reduces the energy cost, but because Mangle now lasts 1 minute, you really don't need a Mangle as often. So the extra energy reduction, I think it totals out to about 6 energy. It just isn't worth it. So just grab the 1 Mangle, and this will be more of a bear talent. And then you got Rend and Tear. So this is going to increase damage done by your shred attacks on bleeding targets. So this is why you want your bleeds up, because your shreds are going to be even more beneficial. And then you're going to also pick up Primal Gore, which allows your rip to crit. And of course, Berserk. So in bear form, Berserk allowed you to hit 3 targets with Mangle, and Mangle have no cooldown. But in cat, Mangle already has no cooldown. Instead, what this does is reduces all energy cost of all your abilities by 50%, allowing you to just pump really hard for 15 seconds. Definitely great for an opener. Now, you can't use it with Tiger's Fury, so what you want to do is pop Tiger's Fury and then Berserk right after. That's the best combination. Of course, you want to make sure your energy is low when that happens. This also prevents you from being feared and breaks the fear if you're in it. Keep that in mind. And then for Restoration, you have more talent points to move around here. So I went 2 Improved Mark of the Wild for the attributes plus the Improved Mark of the Wild. And then also I went 5 of 5 Fear. Now originally I actually had this 3 of 5 and I put the extra points in Naturalist. But because I was bear weaving and I really wanted to guarantee that rage, I went 5 of 5, and it allowed me to stay in bear form a little bit longer so that I could regen even more energy. This is a choice, and definitely not necessary. So you could do 3 of 5 and then go into Naturalist, but I recommend 5 of 5 personally, and then just whatever you've got left in Naturalist. But that is the Feral. I'm also going to go over glyphs really quick. For Feral, I did Glyph of Rip and Glyph of Shred. I have not picked up all the minor glyphs. We have like a shortage, and I haven't been back to the auction house. So hopefully next time I go, they'll have a couple more, but I definitely did Glyph of Unburdened Rebirth. I'll probably pick Glyph of Dash and Glyph of the Wild, I think. But that's pretty much it. Anyway, guys, that is the pre-patch talents that I'm picking. Let me know if you disagree, if you have a better talent, especially if you have a better talent build. Hop in my Discord and post it. We love talking about it and dissecting these things in a positive and constructive manner. We're not mean to you, so if your build's crazy and it doesn't make sense, we'll talk you through why we think it's different. We won't say you're dumb, I hate you. So it's a really nice Discord. I do recommend joining it. The link will be in the description if you want to. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching the video, and as always, take care.